Cass? Everybody. We want to take that classic shot of everybody holding up their viewers. Bob Toy, the official photographer, is going to take that classic shot. We need everybody to fill in the seats for that classic shot. So you may not know the friends next door. You're going to make new friends. We have some seats here. Bob, how soon? We need Terrell? Yes? Would you? Oh, you waving to the camera. Terrell, we need everybody to fill in the seats here. Bob, where do you want the seats to be filled? Bob. And Frank's going to take an Instagram shot. So, you know that classic shot, we want everybody to be up with the viewers. Richard's going to tell you what to download, what app. While they're waiting, what app? Okay, everybody, take a look up here. Download this app. But Bob is going to take this classic shot. Yeah, those of you you can move later. Please fill in the seats. You can move afterwards. Fill in the seats. Fill in the seats. And I have to.
Okay, everybody, we're trying to take a shot with everybody putting the goggles up against their eyes. We just want everybody in the front row here, as many people as we can, front row. Front row. And you can move back wherever you want with your friends later, but right now we need you in the front row or you won't be in the picture. Okay, good. All right. Anybody in the back row with goggles or glasses? We have 2 seats to fill up here in the front. With goggles? Okay. No, don't sit. Come on down. Come down here. We want you in the front row, Tim. You can move back
like
there
the
later,
Oscars.
but right now we want you in the front row. Right here on the second row at the end, you're going to have to trip over people's knees here, okay? And one more. We need one more seat filled in front here with goggles. Thank you. Yes. Okay, we have one seat we need to fill there right in the middle. Yes. Okay, thank you. Right there. All right. Now, when Bob tells us here, what we're going to do is all put the goggles up to our eyes at the same time, so you'll all look like witness protection here. So everybody who's in this area, you all have goggles, right? Let's do a test. Everyone, put the goggles up to your eyes right now. Oh, great. Oh, good. Okay, yes. All right. Ying, you don't have, oh, you do. Okay, good. Okay, he's going to take 2 shots, one in front of you, one from behind. So, wow, they're all different colors, too. Okay. All right, say when, Bob. Okay, everybody, glasses on, glasses up. Glasses on, keep them on. Keep them on as long as you can. Okay, everybody, glasses on, glasses. Some of you don't. Okay, great. You never listen. All right, here we go. All right. Okay, countdown here. 3, 2, 1. Okay. One more. We always take one more. All right. And I know, try to smile. Try to look like you're looking at the coolest thing ever. All right. All right. Okay, glasses up. Glasses up. Countdown again. Come on, everybody. 3. Okay, once more. Glasses up. Glasses up. Okay. 3. You don't have glasses? You don't have any goggles? Okay. All right, go to your room. You don't, honest to God. Okay. We have an interloper here without glasses. Okay. Oh, you dropped them? Okay. All right. Do we need him to have glasses on? You know what? We can Photoshop it in for you. Oh, great. Okay. All right. Okay, here we go again. This is take 2, everybody. Get ready. I'm going to do a countdown. Glasses up. Okay. Now. Put them up. Okay. 3. Okay, Bob. Okay. Okay. 10. 9. All right. 3, 2, and smile. 1. Does that work for you, Bob? Okay, thank you very much. Give yourselves a hand. Applaud. Okay. You want what? You want another one? Okay, one more for the one more for the comm department. Put them up, and this is Instagram. Okay, this is for Instagram, and try to try. No. This is not a big selfie. You're just going like this. All right. Just okay. All right. Glasses down. Glasses up. Glasses down. Okay. All right. All right, let's get started. My name is Richard Hart. I work here in the comm department, as know many of you, and the people are still coming in, but we have to get going here. All right, what this is about is a couple of things. One, we want to catch everybody up. All of you are working in media, you're working in art, you're working in design, you're working in fields like motion pictures and television. This is what we're going to be doing today is your future. You're not going to be able to escape working in 360 immersion or in VR. So what we're doing today is talking about something that many of you probably have heard about. You probably have an idea of what this is, but you're not quite sure. You hear a lot of terms like augmented reality, virtual reality, unreality, and all of that, and you need to know what it is. You also need to know how to prepare yourself for this career. So we're going to talk to these fine people up here. I'll introduce them right now, and they're going to tell you how they got their jobs. They all started in civil engineering, believe it or not. Now the streaming too. For those of you joining us on Twitch, and welcome. And those of you joining us on online.academyart.edu, we are streaming live to people over a YouTube address. All of you probably found that link. If you couldn't get in here, there are lots of people watching us online. So this is being streamed live. Next time, I hope we can do it in 360, but right now we're streaming in just 2D. This is, so welcome to Virtual Reality Summit 2016. We hope there's a 2017 and a 2018, and this outgrows this room. All right, one of the things that we have to do here is kind of define our term. Oh, by the way, the other reason for this is we have a new course, and that new course is open to undergrads and grads. There's no prerequisite. The first edition of it will be this summer, and you can register for it this fall, for next spring, or whenever. So it's a course you can register for called Virtual Reality 360 Production. It's a joint production of the School of Multimedia Communications and the School of Motion Pictures and Television, MPTV and COM, as is this event here. It's you can register under COM or you can register under MPT, but this is a joint production of MPTV and COM. And I hope to see a lot of you taking the course. Some of you all of you who have goggles right now, you got the cheap ones. We have we have these that are going to be raffled, and all of you got a raffle ticket. About halfway through the program, Jen's going to be drawing 2 numbers, and 2 of you will win the high-end version. Sorry, we're not giving out Oculus Rifts tonight. Maybe some other night. Okay, that's not what we're launching. Okay, so what are we talking about here? Strictly speaking, virtual reality is something generated by a computer, but there are 2 kinds of virtual reality. I don't have to explain to you that you put on special viewing devices, goggles or glasses, or your phone, and you can see things that you can't see normally with your eyes, such as computer-generated video game scenes. But also there's 360 immersion, which is film. And 360 or immersion film is going to be a new mode of storytelling, according to one of our panelists here, or all of them, I guess. And augmented reality is something different. Augmented reality requires real-time viewing. We're not going to do that tonight. What we're doing is virtual reality, both in the sense of computer-generated, for example, gaming scenes, and also 360 immersion of films. There is also UR, which is unreality. We're not going to be doing that tonight either. There are applications, I should say, that have nothing to do with creativity or scripted entertainment. How many of you have heard of SyncThink? SyncThink they've gotten patents and they've gotten FDA approval. They have a VR device to put on football players, for example, who have experienced a concussion. We don't know. We need to diagnose very quickly whether they have a concussion. And by playing a scene in these goggles, they can detect abnormal eye movement as an indicator of a concussion. So that's pretty cool. So it's not just about entertainment. It's not just about movies. There are some medical applications. There are lots of others. I won't go into that. So very quickly, I'm going to introduce our panelists, and then after the introductions, each one is going to do a short presentation. Alex, on our right there, is with a company called Alex Pierce Productions. Who would have thought? And this is
very original.
And we want to thank him because you made these possible for our our raffle today. We should auction them off, actually. This is the Go 4D that we'll be drawing for later. And then there is Phil. Oh, I have to tell you who Alex is. Alex is now Alex. Alex is a producer with a lot of experience, a lot of awards in a wide array of entertainment pursuits. He's worked in film. He's worked in. I have to get my notes out here. There you go. Right now, he's working for his own company, and one of the things you have on your website, you have something called. You have a travel show in VR. It's Tour Israel.
Yeah, that's correct.
How does that work? Is it on television? I mean, where do people get it?
Well, that particular series is called Cultural Exchange, and we are hosting specifically with a brand called Escape, who's actually based in the Bay Area. They only focus on travel content, and they also pay their content creators. But the main reason we chose them is that if you use their app, it works for iPhone and Android really well. I'm not going to talk about some of the other apps that are out there that are kind of buggy. And also, it doesn't allow you to stream. You have to download it. So you can only watch it in high quality or not watch it at all. So for us, for that project, it seemed to make sense.
Okay, and what's important about what Alex does is that his company specializes in making one-take movies or one-take videos. They will do stitching for you. They will do pre-production, post-production. A particularly tricky area of VR is distribution. He'll do the distribution. He'll bring an 800 terabyte drive to wherever you want with all of the data on it. And this company, Alex Pierce Productions, you can just find online at alexpierceproductions.com. All right, and he's going to be he's going to be leading off our demonstration today. Seated next to him is Brooke Chapman, who fought Palo Alto to San Francisco traffic just to get here, and she used the commute lane illegally, I might add, to get here. But see that big thing on the right? That is her camera. And she teaches a course or workshops in how to use that camera, right? That is the Vault 1, and she'll be telling us about that.
Jaunt 1.
Why did I say Vault? It's the Jaunt 1. Where did Vault come from? All right, the Jaunt 1, and it is our biggest camera here today. And you have... I have to ask you this. On your advisory board for your company who makes this camera, you have Jared Leto, who is an Academy Award winner, and Brian Glazer, who's a movie producer. I'm going to ask you, what are movie producers and Academy Award winner with that camera?
I think there's a lot of interest from Hollywood folks just around the general buzzwords of VR, but there are several that are very into the new technology side of things, and are very interested in the cinematic VR side.
Okay. Well, she's going to give us a presentation of what they're working on, and principally, it's this camera. Somebody here said that, in your opinion, I think it was Alex, or was it Andy, this is the best camera available for doing 360 right now?
Yes.
Of course you'd say. Of course you'd say that. Okay. And sitting next to her in the center is Jimmy Giliberti, who is part of our family at COM here. He has been in all sorts of mostly computer-related creative arts. He's worked as a programmer at the operating system level. He's worked for Sony. He's done jobs for, well, I'm not going to go through the whole list here, IBM, QThere Media, and so on, but he actually is responsible for some of the APIs that are now used by the graphics industry. He is here with something called, whoops, oh, I will introduce Phil first. You guys are out of order. Okay, I'll come back to Phil. Jimmy is director for sales for the Americas for this company that's called WorldViz. And WorldViz is, it doesn't just sell equipment, but it does things, it'll provide creative services for you if you're doing things in the world of VR or 360 immersion. And it has, there's an online TV show called KVSN, it's KSVN, Silicon Valley network, and it's at KVSN.
Yep, KSVN.TV.
KSVN.tv. Thank you. All right. And he has with him something called the Rico Theta. That's the Rico Theta. Anybody out here in the audience have one of these? Okay. No, but it looks wonderful. He'll be giving us a demonstration of that, too. That's one of the cameras that we'll actually be using tonight. Okay, Phil. Phil is closest to me here. Phil is the Oculus guy here with the Oculus equipment right now. Actually, Andy is kind of an Oculus guy, too. So we put the two Inoculus guys on this side, and it sounds like I'm saying you guys are Inoculus. No, these are the Inoculus. So let's start with Phil. Phil is, wow, used to be, or you're associated with the university here, right? And you're not teaching the course this summer, but involved in it. I know Alex on our far right there. He's going to be teaching the course that we told you about a little earlier. But using virtual reality in a course. Right, yeah, okay. So both of these guys will be teaching here at the university things that involve and use VR, what we're talking about tonight. But Phil has, his background is in animation. He's been working in the game industry for nearly a decade. And he's particularly interested in, I'll let him speak for himself later, but if Phil were here, what he would tell you is he's taught classes in virtual reality. The students have experimented in his classes with motion and gesture controls, including leap motion, which we'll find out about. And you are sort of experimenting. I don't know if you wanted to talk about this, but you think a lot has to be done in improving the controls for VR. Yeah, absolutely. All right, so we'll maybe talk to him a little later during the discussion session about that. And then Andy is, here's, Andy, okay. Andy is in an interesting field of storytelling, scripted storytelling maybe, yeah, with using Oculus Rift, and the lab is called Oculus Stories. Oculus Stories. And this involves video, and it involves, I guess, feature films virtually with the Oculus Rift. Yeah. And okay, story-driven, computer-generated VR with some video also, though, right? All CG. Okay. So you two guys are the CG guys here, then, on the end. Okay. So we got a little feeling for who they are. We'll talk a little bit more about their interests and what they're doing during the demonstration portion of the program. Right now, what I'd like to do, oh, by the way, what we're going to be doing very shortly is doing the drawing for the other two glasses, but not now. When, in about 30 minutes or so, after a few demonstrations, we'll ask you to walk up to this microphone, and you'll be able to ask questions, line up at the microphone and ask questions of the people up here on our panel. Okay, without further ado, I think, one more thing. Talked about Phil and Jimmy, the Rico. This is not Andy, this is his bodyguard. Oculus Story Studio is the official name of where he works. And Brooke is, this is not the same, this is a prototype, an earlier type of camera?
Made of GoPros.
Made of GoPros,
Yes.
right. We also have a camera with one of them, the Aura. Ooh, Facebook. Lots of people are making cameras just for this. On our website later, you'll be able to get links to all of this stuff, and you'll be able to further follow up on it. Just don't forget that we have a class starting this summer and next fall. All right, now it's time for Alex. Alex is going to be demonstrating a bunch of stuff for us, a lot of things that he's using in his work, and I'll let you switch here. All right, please welcome Alex Pierce.
Thank you. See, I'm gonna cue this up in a minute. I'll start by just introducing myself a little bit. My name is Alex Pierce. I graduated from the academy 2 years ago, MPT, focused in producing and directing. About a year and a half ago, I saw an Oculus Rift in a bar in LA, and I thought, this is what I'm going to do. And I basically just switched everything I was doing to focus on 360 video production. And I'm glad we've got a killer panel here that spans a lot of different area in virtual reality, in VR. So it's great because the pressure is kind of lifted on me. I can leave it to the big cats on stage to tell you all the real stuff. But my focus is in 360 video production. So, from like this big camera here, this in the back there's like this GoPro rig. This is actually a 2-camera 360 rig that somebody, Kevin Coons over here, he's actually filming right now. So I specialize in all these different types of rigs, how to shoot them, how to stitch them, and just a very quick, thing into it is basically with most rigs, you could use any cameras. You could shoot, as long as you cover the entire sphere. The real trick is stitching it together later, and you use different programs for that. That's what the course this summer is going to be about. It's going to be about using different cameras, and it's going to be how do you stitch those together. And obviously, here at the Academy, you want to focus on story. So it's not just technical. It's not just, okay, we can do all these great things, but how do we tell a story? And what stories are going to be compelling in virtual reality, and what stories are not going to be compelling? So that's the 1-minute version. Let me load up my demo real quick. All right, so before I start, we've got a demo table over here to our left. We've got a few different devices you can watch this on. You can watch it on these Google Cardboards, that kind of stuff. But this program I'm going to be showing here, I'm just going to be clicking and dragging. So if you do it on your desktop, you could click and drag this. It's going to look whichever direction I want to look. So that's what's going on here. So this is in Petra, Georgia. The Bedouin that took me around on these donkeys was a lot of fun. So this program you can also use Albright cameras. It's a fashion show down in Silicon Valley.
I should say here that what you might not know is this looks like it's a movie that's playing. It's not. He's actually controlling the view with his mouse. Now, he's using the mouse to turn left and right and up and down.
The first thing I shot here in San Francisco, House of Fine Arts, you guys probably recognize it. If any of you guys know Rich Cassio, he was actually the DP for that. Sada, this is in Israel. He decided to take the cable car instead of walking. This is also in Petra. This is part of the piece I did called The Road to the Beach. These are donkey back there in the area. Kind of different than down in Southern California.
All right, that was real.
Let's watch it again. I'm just kidding.
Now that on the boat shot,
Yes, sir.
I actually looked at that online. You look back at the boat and you're looking around, but you're not on the boat. You're in front of the boat, and I don't see where the camera is. How did you?
So it's without jumping into a whole discussion. I'll just show you.
That was so weird.
So I had something like this, and I was sailing the boat by myself on autopilot.
You're single hand. You're kidding.
Single-handed
Okay.
in the ocean, and I'm at the front of the boat and holding a pole like this as it spins further, just over the water. And then the reason you can't really see the pole is something called parallax, which we'll talk about in the class this summer. So you'll have to come to the class to figure out how I made the thing disappear.
Right. Whoops, excuse me. I should say this is the, I want to, okay, thank you, Alex. Alex Pierce will be teaching the course. He's going to be showing us some more things later. This is, I'm watching it through these, and these are the ones that we're raffling today. This one, 2 of these. This is the Go 4D. All right. Next is...
Richard, I still got a quick slideshow.
No, I know, and you've also got some other gear to show us, too. Okay. I was standing to the side watching it on this thing, and I just thought I'd show the audience what you brought, what you brung. All right. And by the way, you can test this out if there's time later on the table. Here, I'm going to put it on the table. Go.
Okay,
right.
Thank you. Sorry. All right, so yeah, so that's my demo reel. It's about 6 months old, which in VR is like years. Yeah, it's like 6 years in dog years, So I've got a quick slideshow. I'm going to just talk about 360 video production. And again, this is mostly what I focus on. This is mostly what the course is going to be taught this summer. And it's a different course than what Phil's teaching. So we can talk more about that afterwards during the demo. So 360 video production. Yeah, so just introduction to 360 VR filmmaking. Monoscopic rigs. These are cameras like this one. So, it's 2D, right? So there's this camera, there's 7 GoPros shooting in every direction. You stitch those all together and you make a 2D image. Same with that camera system over there. It's just 2 cameras with wider lenses, and you make the same thing. And you can do that, with a lot of different rigs. I'll talk about a few of them here. There are ways to make stereoscopic rigs, and we'll talk a little bit about that. But for the class this summer, we're mostly going to be focusing on monoscopic, and there's a few different reasons for that. Okay, so you can also, like I was saying, you can make anything. You can take any cameras. You can take your phones and stitch together a monoscopic video. But there's one way to do it is with custom lenses. So one of the popular ways to do it right now is to take off the lenses from the GoPros and put on third-party lenses so that you get a wider field of view. So this is the Freedom 360 rig. This is more or less the first commercially available rig that you could shoot fully spherical video, meaning if you look up, you'll see the sky. If you look down, you'll see the rig. They also make a waterproof version, which uses the GoPro housing. They're both great quality. They're both 6 GoPros, and it's still in a lot of ways it's still one of the standards for 360 video production. This is a company called 360 Heroes. They make probably 20 different rigs. This one is a 6-camera version, but they also make a 14-camera stereoscopic rig. It's a mess. It's crazy, but they make one for a lot of different applications. This one that I have over here is this company, 360 Heroes. I'm not going to get too much into the company itself, but the reason why I like these as opposed to the Freedom 360 is that you can easily swap out the batteries, and you can easily access all of the ports. That was the reason when I first got into this, I chose this over Freedom 360. Just a little information there. This is the iSugar Z2X. This is one of the cameras I was talking about. If you look, that lens is a little bit bigger. So basically, to do this, you literally take a wrench and you take the lens off of the GoPro and you put a wider lens on. But that allows you to do full spherical 360 with just 2 GoPros. Essentially, that's what this camera is. This is a Kodak PixPro, and I'll talk about that too. But this system was available at least over a year ago. So it's been around for a while, and it's still definitely a way that a lot of people shoot. Here is the camera that we're shooting with here. It's the Kodak PixPro SP360 4K. Okay. So it basically does the same thing as the last one, but it's all in the camera. So the field of view is 235 degrees. So you could actually just take one of those and film 360, and you'll just have a hole in the bottom of your picture.
It's not. I'm giving you the 2-minute warning.
Gotcha.
Okay.
Thank you. Stereoscopic rigs. So this is one I was talking about, 3D H3 Pro 12. So it uses basically 6 pairs of cameras, and then you have stereo separation, but most of the rigs that are done like this are extremely difficult to make work. It's the stitching process. So as I said before, you stitch all the cameras together. Well, with this, you don't just have to stitch the cameras together, but you have to stitch them in a way that works for 3D. And it's hard to do just regular 3D good. So to do it with 6 pairs of cameras or more is really kind of crazy, in my humble opinion. Then you have something like this, the Jaunt 1. I'm going to skip over because we've got someone from Jaunt who's going to explain that in detail. But it's the best one out there, and I can say that with no bias. So this is Nokia Ozo. It's another one. It is available, but if you have 60,000, you can go out and pick it up. I'm going to skip ahead here. AlexPierceProductions.com. And yeah, I'll be available. I'll be over at the side if you want to check out a demo or chat.
Or buy something.
Or buy something.
All right, thank you. How about a hand for Alex Pierce, ladies and gentlemen? Andy. Andy Wood, as we said earlier, is with Oculus Story Studio, which means they're trying to do storytelling. I shouldn't say trying because that makes it sound like you don't know what you're doing. Telling stories with Oculus and VR. And I have to ask you, while you're getting that ready, if you're doing a scripted story where people can look anywhere they want at any time, doesn't that mean you really can't tell a story because you can't direct people to look at a certain thing at a certain time?
Well, that's something we're figuring out.
That's okay.
That's part of what Story Studio is.
Well, there you go.
Yeah.
All right, thanks. Oh, yes, I'm sorry. I kept your device.
All right, guys, it looks like
All right.
my notes are gone, so excuse me if I seem a little stumbly at sometimes. My name's Andy Wood. I'm part of the production staff at Oculus Story Studio, right up here. Oculus Story Studio is a part of Oculus Future Media. Oculus Future Media focuses on VR content that's not focused on gaming. A lot of Oculus right now is focused on gaming. We're developing a headset. I'm getting told to hold this closer to my mouth. So Oculus focuses a lot on gaming. Future Media focuses on content in VR that necessarily isn't gaming, but is still entertainment-based content. So I have a quick movie here that kind of explains what Story Studio is a little bit more, so I'm going to go ahead and play it.
When I was younger,
Sorry, 1 second. Oh.
When I was younger, my dad would take us to some of the art theaters to see some of the films from the 50s that were 3D with the paper glasses. Just finished Maleficent, and someone showed me an article about Oculus, and I said, I got to see what this is. It was my first experience with VR, and literally came out of that and said, this is going to change everything.
When we started Oculus, we really thought that the major focus for VR was going to be games. Now that the Rift is sort of maturing as a technology, and really virtual reality on the whole, the potential is really there to take people to these virtual worlds.
We are seeing the birth of a completely new medium. Storytelling in VR is much more complex. It's kind of a three-dimensional storytelling. There's multiple things going on at the same time.
What would it be like to be in an arena with the matador and the bull as they're sparring? You are seeing that dust get kicked up in your face. Adrenaline is pumping. You tend to only remember the details that you need to know, and everything else goes fuzzy around you. We're going to embrace that.
Could we build an environment that was so real? Could we really make you feel you're there? Crawling around, getting your head right up close to the plants, and really feeling that sense of scale, and then, oh my God, what is that?
The possibilities of VR are much more vast than we initially thought they would be, because you matter in that story. The way you experience the story matters, while the way I experience a movie doesn't matter for how the movie is told.
So that has a lot of our founders in it. Sascha Unseld, who directed The Blue Umbrella for Pixar, Max Planck, who was a technology director for Pixar for a really long time, and Edward Sachi, who has done politics and a whole bunch of other stuff and had a really successful startup and is now focusing on VR. So Story Studio at its heart is a company that's focused, or is a studio that's focused on making virtual reality movies. The virtual reality movies that we make are fully CG immersive VR experiences. So that's a lot of words that doesn't probably make a lot of sense without experiencing it. But essentially, we're creating real-time rendered imagery, a lot like you'd see in a film from Pixar or DreamWorks, and we're allowing you to move around it. So you're allowed to be the camera, a lot like a 360 video, but you know, if you jump, you're going to jump in VR. If you crouch, you're going to crouch in VR. If you duck from an object that's coming at you, you're going to react to that. So we primarily develop for the Rift because we're an Oculus company. The Rift uses a IR sensor that picks up your position, so you can actually walk around an environment. If I'm put in a forest, I can take a step forward, and my entire body will move in that environment. So far, Oculus Story Studio has produced 2 projects, Lost and Henry. Every project that we do is an experiment in some way. We're a lot like a lab in the sense that we want to figure out how to tell a VR story, how to tell a VR narrative. It's the idea that we have to figure out how to tell this new medium. Lost is a really interesting piece in the sense that it's experimental and experiential. So within Lost, we dealt with how you convey suspense in VR and how you can tell scale in VR. Henry's a little different. Henry's a little bit more of a traditional narrative, but it involves creating empathy in VR and how you make someone, an audience member, feel emotion for a character. It also deals with the idea of presence in VR, which is a really interesting thing, and I'm sure you guys have probably dealt with this too, with 360 video, immersive video stuff, is the idea of how does your viewer interact with a story, and what is your purpose in the story? Because if you're standing in the living room with 2 characters, do they see you? If you can walk up to them, are you able to interact with them? So this is all stuff that we actually don't know right now, and we're still trying to find out as Story Studio. And so every project that we do has pillars to kind of figure out what these things are that we're doing and how to tell a VR narrative. So I'm on a project right now called Dear Angelica. Dear Angelica is a film, a VR film about a girl going back through her memories and thinking about her mother, and how her mother shaped who she is now and the experiences that they had. Dear Angelica is unique in a few different aspects. One, it's all told in VR paintings. So we've basically taken 3D illustrations, and you're allowed to walk around an environment. And our art director, Wesley Allsbrook, has drawn these beautiful illustrations, and you're able to, like this 2D image, I can walk behind her, and I can walk around her and view the entire environment. It's really hard to explain, but the other thing that's really cool about this is Wesley actually draws all the images in VR herself. So she uses our proprietary software hardware called touch controllers. And they're basically 2 controllers that track where your hands are. And so Wesley, if she draws a line like this, she can walk under it and move around it. And it's hard to explain without showing it, so I have a really quick video here that kind of helps articulate that. So everything you just saw was all drawn by Wesley in VR, and it was all real time. So every brush stroke you saw that came on screen was her pulling a trigger on the touch controller and moving her hand across the environment. So Wesley spends like 3 to 4 hours a day on average in VR drawing, which is nuts. I think at this point she's probably one of the like diehard VR people who's been in an experience longer than anybody else. But she, she's happy. She does it for hours on end. She jokes that she never actually wants to go back to working on a flat medium again because in VR she can be with her illustrations. She can be with her creations and be in that environment and be a part of what she's created, which I think is kind of everybody's dream, or at least an artist. You can dream up something and then be with it and experience it. The guy next to her is Inigo Quilez. His initials are IQ. He's like literally one of the smartest guys I've ever met. So Inigo developed the internal program that we use called Quill that Wesley draws in. Inigo developed it in like 2 days. He just sat down and decided to write the script because we were having trouble turning Wesley's illustrations into this beautiful 3D environment. So he just wrote a script where Wesley could draw the 3D illustrations. This was at Sundance where we premiered Quill and we showed the first press demos for Dear Angelica. So Dear Angelica is a really awesome show and it's a lot of fun and it's really inspiring. But that's only half of what Story Studio does. The other half of Story Studio is, our goal is to inspire and educate. And so the other half of that is we want to inspire folks like you, people who want to do 360 video, who want to do VR experiences, to get out there and create. And so part of that is we've paired up with different VR filmmakers within the community to reach out to schools, to help develop content, all this kind of stuff. And things like Henry and Lost, we want to make that available so people can open up what we've done and pull it apart and see how we've created these VR experiences. So part of our Sundance presence, we did a little video that helps better explain how we want the VR community to be involved with our development process. So I'm going to go ahead and play another video.
As the Rift launches, I think people are going to be amazed at the range of content that there is for 2016.
There's been this community of people that have completely given their lives to starting to work in this space.
This idea of VR movies. It's been something I've been waiting for and searching for my whole life, and I realized this is that next step. This is that next medium.
It moved me way beyond what I can rationalize.
It goes just like right to your human core.
What I had seen felt like a memory of me being somewhere versus a memory of me watching a film.
I knew right at that moment that I was gonna try and help cultivate this thing, and I was gonna try and help bring it to life.
They're all incredibly diverse, but they're all part of this family of VR movies.
Clouds Over Siege is probably the project where we have to keep cleaning off the headset because there's tears inside of it.
With the Martian VR project, which is literally a full 30-minute experience, living the part of Mark Watney and playing all the key scenes in the movie.
While the experience, the character looks at you, but in fact she's looking through you. That look, that moment when she looks straight in the camera, just completely blew our minds.
Alumet lives in a town that floats in the sky, inspired by Venice. You actually are given the ability to use VR controllers like the Oculus Touch and interact with that world.
Invasion is animated characters that you can fall in love with in magical worlds with great stories backing it all up.
Evolution of Verse is a sort of surrealist, lucid dream.
The Angelica is literally as if you could step inside of a painting, and that is where the whole story unfolds. It feels like this small family of pioneers who all together try to chart this unknown territory. And it has been amazing to see how many new people are joining in.
It is going to be the dominant art form of the 21st century. I am completely convinced.
I don't see how there's any argument that it's not the next great medium for human storytelling.
VR is what I do. VR is my life. I want to spend all of my career exploring that art form.
All right, so that was a lot of people from the VR filmmaking community. Not just Oculus people, people from Verse, people from, I'm not sure if there were any Jaunt folks in there, but there was a piece in there, yeah. So we are really wanting to help the community expand and grow. So California or bust. That's a weird slide to put up. We have an analogy at the studio that we want to go across the country, and the idea is like, you're a covered wagon band, and you're going across the country from New York to California, right? Right now, we're like in New Jersey. We haven't like left the East Coast, but we want to get to the West Coast. So It takes time and it's a process, but we are experimenting and we're learning, and every time we make a new breakthrough, we're getting closer and closer to getting to the West Coast. So this is a slide I actually stole from another presentation we gave at AAU a little earlier, but this is the AAU alumni that are currently or have worked at Story Studio. Story Studio is only a year and a half old, and already we have 8 alumni working at the studio. The really cool and inspiring thing about the VR filmmaking community right now is it's very small and it's very early on. And so the idea that there are so many things to learn and so many new things that can be explored and discovered, and that a lot of the vocabulary hasn't even been written yet for what VR filmmaking is, it's a great opportunity for students. You know, there's so many things to do, and all the technology that we have used for Story Studio projects is available to the public, that all you need is like an understanding of VR and the passion to go out and do it, and you can do it. And there's a medium there for you to jump into. So thank you very much.
Wow, thank you. Andy Wood, ladies and gentlemen. An alumni. Was that you, the Andy Wood in the picture there in the lower right-hand corner?
Yes, that's
that
me.
was, okay. You look so young. All right, Jimmy Gilberti. He's, how about a hand for Jimmy? From a company called WorldViz. He has the Theta camera here, which he demonstrated for me just a while ago. He put the camera on my desk. He just set it there, took a picture remotely with his phone, because the camera is on Wi-Fi, right?
It is.
So the camera is Wi-Fi, your phone connects with it, and you can take a picture and then immediately see it in 360 on your phone. It's hard to describe until you experience it. But and we're going to try that right now, live. Okay. My favorite line from the movie, Andy, that we just saw was, "VR is my life." Really?
I mean, you could just live in VR, you know?
A lot of careers started out that way. All right. I should say that you can touch and, well, maybe you can't touch, but you can look at all of these cameras afterward and the stuff on the table that Alex brought here. And in just a couple of minutes, we're going to do our raffle for the other 2 VR glasses. Ah, okay. We're going to learn his password here. All right. All right. All right. Well, one of the things, while you're doing that, what I want to ask is, one of the discussions we had before the program began here was just how much data all of this takes. And I want to take the opportunity to ask you all, is it 4 times as much as any other movie or any animation or any rendering you have to do? Is it, oh, she's 8 times?
It's all of the data.
It's
all of the data.
I'm sorry, it sounded like you said all of the data.
All of the data. So this camera is 24 cameras. 24 cameras.
24
in total
cameras.
in that camera. We record 2 SD cards. About 2 hours of footage is 64 gig cards times 24, 1.5 terabytes for 2 hours. So.
Okay, then.
Pre-stitch.
Then, Phil, how are we going to do this? If we're going to play on an Xbox or a PlayStation of the future, they're going to have huge terabytes of space required, right?
Well, ultimately they'll have it too. So
the timing is right for the industry by the time it catches up with storage?
Yeah, I think so. I mean, storage is actually very inexpensive right now. So there's, it's probably not quite there yet, but I think it's expanding.
What's typical sizes for, say, a minute or 2?
Video?
Depends on the resolution and if it's mono or stereo.
High resolution, stereo.
High resolution is a changing bar. So 4K is about where we're working at right now.
Okay, not 8K, but 4K, all right.
4K stereo, so
Okay.
3840 by 3840.
Okay.
That long. And then you're going to...
1 minute is how much?
A lot.
So, Brooke, but what's final output for something like that?
Okay. Oh,
Final
okay.
output would depend on the device, what you're transcoding for.
And
so.
Jimmy, what size is a file that this camera takes? Very small, right? Oh.
It'll take it's a 5K.
For
by
those of you who are
3K,
looking elsewhere, this is the camera, and it's taking a 360-degree picture of all of us here right now.
Well, it was, and there we are.
Okay.
That's you. You can zoom in.
From earlier today.
Yep.
All right.
So, and it fits in your pocket. So what's interesting for me, now I'm going to go and talk about VR in a different way other than film, because we do something other than film actually with my company. But keeping it with film and video and things like that, this will fit in your pocket. And it'll just stay. And if you're doing location scouting, if you're trying to go and figure out if this is going to be the right place to go and film that next scene, come over, snap. One picture, you've got the whole thing. I mean, right there.
You know that this will be a feature of iPhone 8.
Same thing. So I'm going to go up, and I'm going to look. You have everything. You can see the lights. You can see all the way in the back. You can see where the exits are.
Now, just as Alex pointed out in
There's
his...
Jan. She's just amazed. Look at that.
As Alex pointed out in his little video with the boat, you can't see the camera and you can't see where the camera is. Look at this. The camera is gone.
The camera's gone. Let me go and see if I can.
You can
back
look
out.
straight down and you will not see the camera that took this picture. That's because it is self-aware. It's an AI thing.
No, actually, it's because it's got a 190-degree fisheye on one side, 190 on the other. It's overlapped. And when it stitches, it says, don't need it. But I like his answer. So here is WorldViz. Now, WorldViz has been around, get this, 10 years. 10 years doing VR. Actually, I'll say 13. Just 13 just seems so long. But
half the people in this world weren't born then.
Weren't around then. We were dreaming about VR. But this is the kind of VR that we do. And it's not, the thing about any of these cameras is when you put your headset on, your head is the camera. It's fixed, unless the camera is moving, as it was with the boat, but you're looking around and you're beholden to that lens. Now what we do is we set up sensors which track where you are when you're walking around with your headset. And so when you're walking around that space, it's following you. Very similar to what we were talking about jumping and some of the work that Oculus Story is doing. So that's one, but the thing is when you're in there by yourself. For the most part, right? You're in the headset, and it's whatever's there. And I'm going to show you something that it doesn't have to be that way. But there's also situations where you want to share the experience, and as an example, I'm going to talk about architecture, where an architect may have the entire space of what your building's going to look like, be able to show you what it looks like, and they do approvals with their clients before anything gets built. Really interesting stuff.
You mean an immediate practical application?
Exactly. So one of the things that's interesting about VR right now, and I kind of laugh, is people saying, you know, someday we're going to do this and that. And I'm going, no, we are. Come here, I'll sell it to you.
Okay.
So this is an example of someone that we also do hybrid. So you'll see someone who's got the HMD on. We're seeing what they're seeing. Those things that are on the person who's got the 3D glasses on the right, those antler type things, those are LEDs that are just pulsing at each one at a different rate, so we can go from those cameras and know where you are. So when you look underneath something, the whole thing shifts with you. So let me show you a video of that. Now I'm going to show you something that's also not just you in there by yourself, but you in with somebody else. So from training, so here we are at school. If we were doing something that was a training exercise, here we have something where inside there, just pause it for a second. Thank you. So we know where the headset is, and we know where the wand is, and whether it's a Magic Touch or whether it's an HTC Vive controller. In this case, it's our own controller. We know where it is. So you have a head and a hand, and watch that. And it's mimicking in one-to-one what these two folks are doing down here. And so this is a helicopter rotor, and you'll see up top those bolts are being highlighted as these come out first. So the training exercise is you take the bolts out, you take the plate out, you can get to the gear. If this was $1 million piece of equipment, you would want to have somebody train up and learn how to go and take this thing apart without letting them at the $1 million part first. If you were doing, and let me stop it here. So you see the person looking at the other person. As he bends under to look at that part. Watch how it moves with him. So he's looking underneath this one. So that wall is showing his experience. The wall on the right is showing both of them together. If I had filmed behind us, it would have been the other person.
They can sort of see each other?
They see each other. They see each other's head and hand. And that's all you need to get that experience of being in there with someone else.
So this could be like a multiplayer game?
It could be. In fact, we do have an example of this where it's kind of like throwing blocks at each other. You're in a kind of like a room, and it's like playing Jenga. So you can take the thing, you can take the block, you can put it up, the next person puts it up, you can throw it. It's got physics and everything on it. And you could throw it at somebody, and they can catch it, throw it back.
Cooperative VR.
Yep. And so what's interesting about this is we've got people at nuclear facilities that have to train on what to do in an emergency. And they use this equipment to go and do that, to know to pull that rod or this thing. And you wouldn't want to have somebody have to go and pull out the manual when they need to go really do it. What you're really doing is your brain sees it as an experience. You are learning. It says it's real. And in fact, you're building up muscle memory. So when it comes time to do it, you're like, got this. Boom, boom, boom. Red wire.
Blue wire. All right,
So-
I'm giving you 2-minute warning.
Got it. So the other things that we do with this, and I'll go back to the presentation, the people that use this, a doctor may get to see their hospital room that they're going to do operations and things in before anything is built. And it's very, very expensive to go and build something and have to go and change it. So what they've been doing is building up like sets, like just mock-ups of what something's going to be like. Doctor comes in, says, I like this, don't like this, et cetera. They got to take it all down, rebuild it until they get the approval. Here it's all, not only is it changeable on the fly, they actually get to see it. They can look down at a virtual table, look up and see that monitor that needs to be just there, not 6 inches higher, not 6 inches lower, just right there, and they can approve it. So they do that. In this case, Siemens uses it to just show what their product's going to look like and from a design point before it's done. Think about it. If I'm doing aircraft design, I now have the ability to have a physical object in space. I'm sitting at a chair. I've got plywood. It's got nothing on it. But if I do a one-to-one match of where I am to that, I can put all the buttons and everything right there, and I can go through the exercise of saying that button's in the right place or it's too far. I need to move it back down. So Boeing uses it for cockpit design. And this is the interesting one. If you look at this picture right up here, we originally started by doing neurological research, people with fear of heights. So you bring them up 100 feet. It's like a big Half-Life set, or scene. And it brings it up, and you walk, and you look down, and it's down there. And so the other thing we do is we say, now walk the plank. And some people, they got it, fine. Some people walk, and then we say, now step off. And your brain is saying, nope, not going to do it. And so a lot of folks, this is a great way to actually go and get people who have, again, fear of heights, being able to have people who don't have use of all their limbs anymore. If they even have just the finger, that thing can be translated into VR as a full arm, knowing where things are, and they can get used to that exercise again of doing it. So that's what we do. It's professional. It makes money. It's been making money, and it's something we can talk about.
Jimmy Giliberti, ladies and gentlemen, from WorldViz. Okay. Wow. Brooke, are you ready? Okay. Brooke brought this big camera. Did you carry that in yourself?
Yeah.
So, you're kidding.
Carry it up and
Okay.
down sidelines sometimes, too.
So, your company is called Jaunt.
Yeah, I work at Jaunt VR. We are a cinematic virtual reality company. We are headquartered in Palo Alto. And we also have a studio in Santa Monica, which we opened up late last year. So I got to switch over to my presentation.
Sure, okay. And in the meantime, while you're doing that, for all the people here, how many are here because you are interested in developing the skills you need for a career working in VR? Okay, about half the people. Okay. You want to do what? You want to start your own company? Okay, just kidding.
You can do it, man. You can do it.
Yeah, they didn't tell you. Okay, how many are here just to experience it and just see what this is all about? You know? Okay, so it's about half and half. One thing I want to ask everybody, and we might start with Brooke here, is what is your background and what do you have? What would you recommend that people major in and study in right now? You would say animation, Phil, probably, but
Game development, scripting. You can't have too much scripting and programming. So
scripting. What kind of scripting are you talking about?
C# and C++ if you can.
Not movie scripts or TV scripts, but yeah, programming scripts. All right. But also, if somebody is in the creative side of this and really doesn't want to program code, how can they? What kind of courses should they take, or how could they prepare?
Within the game department, certainly design, and game design and level design. Certainly art as well. I mean, we need everything for the VR track.
And your background, what did you major in? Where did you start?
I got my start as just an animator, and I started working. They needed somebody to rig, so I started rigging, and I just gradually got more technical from there.
Into VR. Okay. All right, Phil. Now, Brooke, how did you start out?
So I started out kind of scrappy doing DIY local stuff, television production, broadcast stuff.
Television
in my hometown.
production.
Yeah,
Okay.
super fun. And then tried to get into editorial, sound design. I went to San Francisco State, and then segued into a career at Lucasfilm for about 8 years. I worked at Industrial Light and Magic. I worked in studio operations there and in the what became virtual production team and on the ILM X Lab team. So we're going to talk caves later. It's going to be awesome. But then I left in July and joined Jaunt, and I've been there for about 10 months now. My background is sort of all over the place, many hats, many jobs to do. I'm not really on the artist side, but more on the coordinator, shooter, producer, whatever sort of side. So
Production skills, basically.
Yeah, all of the things.
Okay. All right.
So this is, I just have a quick slide deck that we can breeze through. I'm not one for presentations, so you guys feel free to just make jokes and make this easier for me. That'd be
So
great.
everything we're seeing, was what we're seeing here shot with the camera that's on stage now?
No, this is just BTS footage. For some of the pieces that we've released already, you can see folks at some of our demo events. We do these activations, is what they're called in the marketing community, where we bring our content to all of the viewers and audiences that we want it to reach. We have an app. You guys can go to jauntvr.com.
Jauntvr.com for the app?
Jauntvr.com to download it. It works on iOS, on Android. You can use it on your Gears if you have those. Highly recommended. And we have a Jaunt player that works with the Oculus right now. So we're all of the platforms, platform agnostic, really.
Are you hiring?
Yes.
All right.
So
you-
Jaunt, we're a VR media company with our roots in Silicon Valley. And our mission is to enable storytellers to create amazing, immersive experiences. That's from the founders of the company. That includes, up the top, you can see Paul McCartney. That was our first big release that we did, shot on that GoPro rig you guys saw a photo of earlier. And then just below there is a still from some footage yet to be released. So we believe wholeheartedly that cinematic virtual reality is the ultimate storytelling tool, and it invites viewers to engage with content and this new medium like never before. Like has been said a couple times already tonight, there's really no vocabulary for this medium yet, so we're very much defining it as we go along, and that's part of the allure, I think, for most of the people that are getting into it right now. So VR is exploding, not just camera-wise, but in viewing capacities. We're just, wholeheartedly backing all of the platforms. We think that mobile devices are really the way forward because all of you have smartphones here, I'm guessing. And if I can get you my content immediately in your pocket, it goes a long way. And Jaunt has this whole world that we've built out on our app where you can navigate around different lobbies, do different content by genre, and we have all sorts of different content up there, so there's no class system in what we're releasing. It's all equally available, and for free. So 3 main types of VR that we've talked about: cinematic VR, which is what Jaunt focuses on, the 3D monoscopic videos, which is what you would see on Facebook and YouTube 360 more widely, and then VR gaming, which is the CG rendering side of things that our Oculus friends are working hard on. And then about Jaunt. Highlights, okay.
2-minute warning. Okay.
Love it. So these are our founders. This is my favorite photo of them. Arthur on the left and Jens on the right. They're our fearless leaders. They are both Silicon Valley veterans, and they got into VR about just over 2 years ago. Very young company. They decided that they wanted to take the experience of being in the Grand Canyon and give it to their loved ones and their relatives in a way that they never thought that they could before. So from there, that one. We designed a camera, which is over here, the Jaunt 1. It's codenamed Neo. That was our internal name originally. We have a lot of Matrix code names for our products. It is a fully 3D 360 rig, 24 cameras, 2K modules, camera modules, and we have a whole platform to stitch all the footage that comes off of it automatically. We use Amazon Web Services, so we optimize based around node availability, just like Netflix does, to stream everything that you guys watch. And we're able to just generate very high-res, very high-quality stitches just out of the box. It takes a lot of the pain and torture out of doing 3D video.
Speaking of pain and torture, 1 minute.
I would love to talk audio some more, but maybe we can do that later because it's a deep dive pretty quickly.
Later, not that we don't love you.
Yeah. Dolby Atmos is the main 3D audio platform right now, but we're recording with a tetrahedral mic. You know about. And this is a preview of the app there. So we have a lobby that we designed using the Unity platform, and some amazing artists on our team that work with that. So I think that's...
Thank you, Brooke. Yeah. Okay,
You're
ladies and gentlemen, Brooke Chapman. You're so modest. Okay. All right, now for our big finale, we're going to demonstrate Oculus Rift so that you can see what the person wearing the headgear is seeing. We'll be having that on the screen here. Phil Koffold is one of our, again, an instructor here at Academy of Art University, who actually has taught VR as part of other courses already. Phil, I'll give you my mic.
All right, so you've all got your cardboards now, but before tonight, so who had never tried VR before? All right, keep your hands up. All right, so who has never tried VR before and also is afraid of heights and has a good sense of humor? All right, you seem really eager, so come on up. So step on over here. So I hope you can, I'm sorry, what's your name? Andrew. So I'm hoping we can all kind of see Andrew from off the side here. So this is actually just a demo from the internet. This isn't something the Academy produced. I would give the website name, but it escapes me at the moment. All right.
As you're watching this, don't just watch
Right, so kind of keep an eye on both here. So Eric, whenever you're ready, I think. You already got, there you go. All right, so this is one of my favorite icebreakers here. All right, so take a quick look around. This is what he's seeing. All right, so there's a creepy person next to you on each side. Creepy person kind of standing there. This is actually a very early demo, so spacebar. All right. So we're off and running. You okay?
Oh shit! Oh shit! Whew.
Oh.
Sorry,
Okay.
sorry.
Okay, so why don't you go ahead. So just close your eyes and watch you take the headset off. You okay?
Are you okay?
Oh yeah, I'm fine. Just pretty high.
We don't have a bucket here.
No, it's fine.
Do you want more?
Yes. It's amazing. Ooh, shit. Ooh.
I have to tell you, Eric over here, who's at the machine, is saying, "You want me to make him do this? You want me to make him do
Well,
that?"
There's actually an ejector seat on this.
Oh, really?
This is amazing. Sure.
Eject. Oh, there he
shit.
goes.
What's going on?
You got really good distance. Wow.
Oh, shit. Whew.
Very good. Okay. All right. Thank you, Andrew. How about a hand for Andrew? Help him down the stairs. God.
So, can we get that switch back over there? So, we need to switch back to here.
Yeah, we need to switch back to this for the presentation here. Okay, we're almost at the point of the raffle, so don't go away. I don't see anybody leaving, but don't go away. No. Oh, okay, sorry. And here we go. All right.
All right, so that was a great demonstration. Thank you once again. That's always the reaction that I hope for that. So just as a full disclosure, so I'm actually mortally terrified of heights. One of the other teachers here, Steve Goodall, put me in that and didn't tell me what was happening, and I nearly, well, let's just say I had to take it off pretty quickly on there. But, so I do teach a couple of the VR classes here. And what actually really fascinates me about the VR is actually the user experience involved in it. And especially for gaming, it's very, very relevant because how do we interact with things? So once again, this is what we've had for the most part so far. We've got roller coasters, we've got a little bit of the swing that we have there, somebody in a parachute, you can watch a movie on the moon. It's all really cool. But where do we go from there? So these are really just experiences. They really do give us that sense of presence that you actually get in VR, that you actually feel like you're there. Your brain really messes with you. It really feels like you're on the swing. You feel your stomach falling out from underneath you. But once the novelty of that wears off, you want to do a little bit more. You actually want to play some games. You want to play D&D. So now what do we do? What can we do? And what do we actually want to do in VR? So these are some of the games that are actually coming out. These are some launch titles: 100-Foot Robot Golf, Valkyrie. You may have seen some of these. Job Simulator, which I haven't tried, but I'm a little bit baffled by.
It's actually amazing.
I can believe it's sort of like, it would be like teaching the game. I'm like, why? Okay. But, and Bullet Train, which is one of the demos that Epic did. Also very cool. And these are some of the control systems that are either coming out or in development, or what have you. But not all are created equal on this. We've actually developed 2 different games right now within the game department for VR. We will see demos for those too. Oh, I'm sorry. So we also want to, how could we use cutting-edge control systems to create compelling experiences in virtual reality using said control systems, which do all sorts of different things, or just because we think it's cool doesn't mean everybody will. So control systems have a long history of trying and failing, especially in video games. I will pick on the Kinect later. The Kinect is one of my favorite targets. So Last Fate is one of the games that we have in development. Again, we'll see a demo for that in a little while. We're using that with the Oculus in conjunction with the Leap Motion. And the Leap Motion will let you do gestures, and we use it to let the player cast spells by doing different hand signals. You can see up here this is just kind of stock footage, but you can hold up your hands. You can actually see a representation of your hands, do different gestures, and do things. It's really kind of nifty. It's been an experience getting it to work. They just recently updated their software, which actually made it work properly. So hooray for that. We also have another game, a little bit more intellectual. You're actually in a giant robot fighting a giant crab monster in San Francisco Bay. So for this one, we're using the Xbox 360 controller. And Last Fate was meant to be a little bit more experimental, explore kind of the possibility of using the gesture controls as an effective game mechanic. We didn't just want to use it because, obviously with VR, you can't see your hands. That's a bit of a problem. Mouse and keyboard is a terrible way to control anything in VR, especially if you have pets or like beverages or what have you. It becomes an issue very quickly. Kings of the Earth, which is our the robot one, it's designed to be more of an action arcade experience. What we're really going for on that is trying to give you a sense of scale, that you are in this giant robot, you're fighting this giant monster, but it lends itself better to a traditional control system. But others we are going to be looking at. So the STEM system is one of them. It's actually a 5-point tracking system that will let you do full body tracking. The Omni, I want one. But this will actually let you walk around. Obviously, Oculus Touch controls. I would like some, please. They come out second half of this year, right?
End
Maybe.
of the year.
End of the year? Just teasing me. And then, of course, we have the Vive, which is their thing is that the setup will allow you to kind of stand up, have a full body experience, walk around, hopefully not kill yourself in your apartment or anything like that.
Okay. All right, Phil, give
You gotta wrap up?
Yeah, wrap up.
Okay. So real quick, so control systems serve the experience. So Omni, one of the first things I heard somebody talking about doing with the Omni was to run around Skyrim, which sounds horrible and exhausting. What's that? Whether or not the control systems work, like I said, there's a long history of them not working. This is a great quote from Palmer Luckey. Easier to use Rift than make an email address. Essentially, so cutting to the chase here, if our process is such that the product seems broken, then our product is basically broken. Same goes for control systems. If they don't completely work, then they actually don't work at all. Once again, the Kinect, I can pick on it. 85% correct, 15% frustrating. Obviously did not go very well very far, but I think, again, with the Kinect, we can kind of learn some practical lessons. So this is my favorite Kinect advertisement because this does not resemble my apartment in any way, shape, or form. Actually having space, and cleanliness and good lighting and everything else. Another barrier, if you do not have a place like that, is if you have any of these. So I don't know if I have to lock them in the bathroom or what have you if I want to play with my Vive.
You don't want to step on them?
Kill them. So so another one is, how do people actually want to play games? So I can only speak for myself. What I have here is an artist rendition of what I'm like when I come home from work, which is basically that. You don't necessarily want to jump and flail around and wave your arms and everything else, which, again, so are all the new control systems doomed? Useless, pure evil. No, they're actually pretty cool. And I think they're pretty amazing. I think we're still just trying to explore and see what they can actually do. But they're not necessarily right for every game, and not necessarily even for every VR game.
All right, so people can experience this in your class, right? Okay.
So if you look up, Connect, Disconnect, if you look up extra credits, and if you're not all watching extra credits, you really ought to be. Does a really good job explaining that. Personally, it didn't show my gift. Did it show my gift? Oh, somebody did a Godzilla simulator where they got to stomp on buildings and stuff. Sorry, I don't know why it's not showing up. And also beware of anybody's predictions or expert opinions. So, including me.
Okay.
Okay. I thought Minecraft was going to be a dud when I saw the beta, so what do I know?
Okay, Jan, you think we have time?
Okay. Okay. So Krista Frost here is a producer on Last Fate.
Okay, now you're going to be talking while you're taking us through this? You need a microphone, okay? I will hold it. All right, and Justine, you have her on camera? Can we get her on camera? Okay, Christine Frost. Oh, you have, okay, all right.
Okay, hold the mic.
All right, no, I'll hold her mic.
All right, so Last Fate is a 3D real-time puzzle game where you can use the leap motion to cast spells and solve puzzles. So this is the first room. This is the cottage. And you fall down these trapdoors here, and that lands you in the dungeon. So the first room that you encounter gives you your first spell. And we're going to go here into the water room. And we are going to attain the water spell. So yeah, we're still in production, so it's not perfect. In fact, there's supposed to be water here, and we just fixed that today. But this is the water spell, which you can conjure by making a peace sign. And then you throw the water spell. I may have missed. Okay, if you're not, we can conjure it again. Oh yeah. Oh, there we go. It froze the ice. It froze the water into ice, and now we can walk back across. And that's all I've got for now.
Well, that's a lot. Thank you, Krista Frost, ladies and gentlemen. So what did you? This is a game that you're developing?
Yes, I'm the producer of Last Fate, and we are taking applications for the fall semester if you'd like to work on it.
Okay,
The lab continues in the fall. Sign up now.
All right, now it's time for. And ladies and gentlemen, how about a hand for Phil Koffold here? Plenty of opportunities here, and I'm going to go get. Jan's going to do the drawing here. Get out your the tickets that you got when you came in, the raffle tickets. We're going to draw 2 of them. We have 2 units here, and that's this, right? Okay, I can, yeah. All right. So these are the units we're going to hand out. It comes complete with an iPhone. No, just kidding. It's just the glasses. These are a little bit higher end compared with the cardboard ones you have right now, although the Google Cardboard is not bad. And Alex has them in his hands. All right, everybody got the raffle ticket?
So raffle tickets, everybody starts with 550, everybody. So the 2 tickets picked If you are 550089, just look at the last two numbers, 89.
Anybody here 89? Who has 89, the last two numbers? All right. Come on down. Come on down.
And the other number is 133. So look at your last three numbers.
133. Sarah, come on stage here. All right. Yes. Well, now, wait a minute. Let me check. That's you, 133. All right. Congratulations. All right. Now, are you going to take the class? Okay. All right. We're going to wrap things up for the broadcast, or the streamcast, but I want to just thank everybody, and then if you want to stick around and interact and ask questions, you can do that. But right now, I just want everyone to give me a big round of applause for Alex Pierce, okay. Brooke Chapman, Jimmy Giliberti, Andy Wood, and Phil Koffel. All right, now I'm gonna drop the mic to lead another round of applause for everybody. Great. All right, that concludes the official streaming portion of our program. But now, if you want to stick around and if you want to line up at the microphone here, people in the audience can ask questions. What I'd like you to do is, sure, go. You're the first one in line. Take the microphone. What I'd like you to do is tell us your name and whether you go to school here, where you're from, and then ask your question.
Yeah, I'm actually an alumni.
An alumni, okay.
My name is Angelo. Phil, I was trying to figure out what's your next vision of controllers. I mean, for me, I see controllers as the next step as vocal, very talk-based. AI, is it something that I know Oculus Story would be interested in that type of manner? Is that something that you guys...
Okay, so this is a question about controllers and how they relate to games and also storytelling.
Yeah, I'm just trying to use AI as speak. Is that something that's you see guys evolving?
All right, does anyone here want to answer the artificial intelligence controller question?
I'm not sure how AI would work with controllers, but as far as the next step goes, it's just a matter of kind of trying everything at this point. I'm curious about the STEM system. I'm curious about the Vive.
Okay. Right now, I'm assuming it's just controller
What's that?
based. I'm assuming everything is controller based. These
Everything's
controller as in something in hand, something that's not more, I'm guessing, responsive.
Intuitive.
Intuitive, exactly.
Yep. Controllers are interesting too because you can get haptic controllers. So say you had a doctor that was showing someone how they did their particular surgery. You could capture that and reuse it later.
How do you do haptic when you don't have?
They have
feedback?
things. There's some really expensive stuff called like a Phantom is a good example.
The one that hardens.
It's like a $60,000 thing, but they basically have it's almost like a thimble, and when they push against it, you can go and adjust what kind of pressure goes back.
Okay.
So it feels like they're actually cutting.
There's an interesting element too now with on the cinematic side of things. So there's some like gaming haptic backpacks that you can wear to do like laser tag and whatever. But there was a piece this last year at Sundance. They had a VR section. I'm not going to pull the name of it because I don't remember. But they had these like in the like eye of a bug or of an animal.
Do they use wind to go ahead and do a haptic?
They use the haptic backpack actually to simulate wings fluttering, and it was really, really compelling. So, because you get that view, but with that added vibration on your back, you're just like, it's all gone. You're just right there.
My name is Xinliang Wang. I come from China. You can call me Stan. And my major is visual development. And I'm very curious about how to capture those 3D things. And I think we locate ourselves we locate things, not only by seeing things, we also hear things. I want to ask Alex, how do you capture the sound? because I think I captured the location of things more with my ears.
Yeah, for sure. So I'm going to pass that question to Brooke because she's the expert on it.
So 360 sound design is like a whole other thing. It is definitely like the uncharted of the uncharted territory here. It's ambisonic audio, which has primarily lived in like the academic field for the past 30 years or so, and is slowly sort of being pulled into modern technology with the advent of real VR, right? And so you're going to be, the simplest way to do 360 spatialized audio ambisonics is with a tetrahedral mic. Core Sound sells them. Very nice guy named Len. I'm his #1 fan. He's been making these mics in his workshop for a long, long time. You guys can purchase them. He sells about a $1,300 mic that you can record 4 channels of audio that gives you up, back, front, and behind. So you're able to take that audio and marry it into this ambisonic file, which you can rotate in a sphere and adjust the elevation of.
So
in post.
it is kind of dividing the sound of our sense and recollect that again.
It's also very similar to like the Dolby Atmos format, where you can actually spatialize your audio for the theater that you're going to be playing back in. And so a lot of our productions right now are doing their final mix in Atmos because they're able to control the ambisonics at a finer detail and get the same quality playback on like the gear.
I still have further question, may I? That is recording the sound, but how do we make sound in 3D in game design? I want to ask. I'm sorry.
Well,
As far as like audio goes in game design,
are they in the same method?
so we're actually working with the sound department on that. They have some tech of their own that actually lets them do 360-degree sound through stereo headphones. So we're actually, especially with the robot game, we're experimenting with that to see how that's actually going to work with that.
And so at Story Studio, we use a program called WISE with Unreal Engine that allows us to get spatialized audio, and our sound designer will go in.
Audio wise?
WISE.
WISE.
Yeah.
Okay.
Good questions.
Hi, my name's Jasmine. I'm a 3-year audio student, currently focused on game audio, and those are basically my questions. But I was wondering if you guys were actually involved in the audio process itself, because I mean I'm familiar with Atmos and also with Wise and Fmod, and I was just wondering if you're involved in like the development of like with your projects that you've been involved in.
Yes, so we have, we have a studio side and we're doing productions all day long. So we have sound guys that are field recordists that specialize in recording ambisonic audio and also mixing it on the back end. They're hard to find. It is definitely a growing career right now to be able to record field audio and also record like lav mics on someone that's in a 360 video or hide a boom mic somewhere. So you can actually mix that into the spatialized audio in post, but I'm not sure where I was going.
One of the other things to think about, we didn't really talk about this, but when it comes to the vocabulary of film, getting to get your audience to maybe look at something, audio cues could well be part of that new vocabulary.
It's more than half of the experience, in my opinion. I'm totally biased, but I think you can use light and movement and color only so much in place of like editorial choices. You can use sound so much more to direct the viewer, to make them look away.
You got that from George Lucas, right?
A little bit.
Yeah. Okay, all right, thank you. Next.
Who's hiring? I'm just kidding. I'm Justin. I study motion picture and television here. So I have a couple questions. So I'm wondering I want to get into monoscopic immersive content, for example, like scenarios. I've seen videos on YouTube, whereas it's kind of like I don't know how to explain it. It's like a scenario. I saw one there, like someone's breaking into your house, and it's kind of like an immersive type thing. besides the VR class this summer, what classes or areas should I study to get more into the storytelling aspect of VR? And also, I'm wondering what else besides, I mean, on a low budget, how to get more experience and immerse myself in the industry of VR, and what companies, if you guys know of any, that are looking for interns or young talent around the Bay Area this summer or as soon as, now. John?
Give me your info.
Okay, great, awesome.
Yeah, I guess I can jump in here. Definitely come and get one of my cards. I can get you in touch with some people. John's definitely hiring. There's a few Bay Area companies. A lot of the production for video is happening in LA, in Santa Monica area, that kind of stuff. As far as, how can you jump in? I mean, the best way is just to jump in. And
It's like typical crewing up on a show these days. Like, if you're interested, PA. Just expect to work hard and a long day and not get paid very much, but just observe and, like, be a part of the crew, and you'll make your way from there. So.
The other thing to think about is from a school, or in other words, what should I take? I don't know about you guys. I think just stage plays. Because of the editing, because you're not in, think like a stage, acting for stage, or anything having to do where you have multiple things going on at one time, and get that experience and remember it, because in essence, your video is kind of that way anyhow.
You don't have cuts, so you can't move a set in between, and you also don't have control of the camera. So your audience can look anywhere. So knowing how they'll react to a certain environment.
How to manipulate things in sly ways. Yeah.
Exactly.
Yes, hello. My name is Ishban, and I'm an animation visual
Can I hear
effects. My name is Ishban, and I'm an animation and visual effects student. My question is there going to be a shift towards more television shows and movies that are 3D interactive through goggles or through other means?
So sorry, the question was.
Is there going to be like more like movies and television shows that are more 3D interactive?
Well, so it depends on what you define as that, right? We're at Story Studio. We're making basically short films in a certain aspect, and part of it right now is the user's ability to stay in VR for a long time. Which if you're moving the camera a lot or something like that, people are gonna start getting dizzy. They're gonna start feeling a little depending on the type of movement, the locomotion effect that you get from that. So
and a lot of people are not comfortable in goggles for longer than 8 minutes at a time, really.
Yeah,
so
it gets you can start to feel the effects of it. So right now we're focusing on short content. That doesn't mean that you can't do episodic content. There's plenty of different ways of doing it. It's building up the endurance of a new medium. When film first came out, there were no feature films right off the bat, right? That language had to be developed, and that viewing process also had to be developed within that. So it takes time, and I think we'll see shorts right off the bat, and then it will kind of develop into.
This is the train leaving the station moment in our history
that every single VR person has used as an example.
It's the go-to, but it is like the wow moment is very much where we live right now. Everybody is very much wow when they experience it. You can only tell people about it so much.
But the train's rolling.
Hello, my name is Chloe, and I'm from Web Design Media Department. So that's also part of my question. So as part of web design in media, so I'm care about VR, what VR can do. Well, do web surfing and do apps in the future. But what I really want to ask, also part of the motion sickness in VR and how to reduce it. Because during the event, I heard a lot of good things about it, but nothing about how to reduce the sickness, the motion sickness.
Part of it is your control of yourself. In other words, if what I was showing before about walking, the fact you're walking, your body knows that it's walking. If you're in like the experience that the person had with the roller coaster, there was motion going on, but his head was staying still. And that throws your body off, and it doesn't know how to resolve the two things, and that's what causes it. And in fact, the body thinks it's being poisoned, and that's what's actually going on internally, and it's fighting it. And so that's why some people do things like teleportation. Instead of using a joystick to go from here to there, you go click, I want to go there, and you're there. And it's just like an edit. Your mind already knows edits. So I'm here, I'm looking at this person, I'm looking at that person. So your brain knows that, moving like a joystick through it, and then coming out afterwards, your body is.
Well, I was going to say, so when you, number one, if you do want to have the person move around in VR, a constant rate of motion actually works pretty well. Your inner ear can detect acceleration and deceleration, but it doesn't detect constant motion. So it's a little bit jarring, but
And it's
just
a good
kind of from a
technique for storytelling, too.
What's that?
It's a good technique for storytelling, too.
Oh, I can believe that. But also, we've also, for games, we've also found that if you have some sort of cockpit in front of you, some sort of point of reference that you can kind of, that's feet on the ground helps, but just something visually so that you're a little bit more grounded. Possibly, and we're experimenting with this right now, but just having your UI be at center. So if you turn your head, it stays. You have to be looking forward to see things. So.
Games like Deep Valkyrie, you're in a cockpit, so you have that point of reference where you can look around and you still have full view, but there's pieces of the environment that are not moving, which definitely helps. So you have that grounding point.
Hi, my name's Aftab, and I'm a composer and sound designer. There's several questions, but I guess I'll just stick to this one. That I'm really curious what your guys' thoughts are, like if you could elaborate more on how does one tell a story with such a 360-degree, view, and could you elaborate more on how you effectively tell a story?
Well, so for our first project that we did at Story Studio Lost, it's actually, I don't want to give it away because I hope you guys can all see it at some point, but one of the first cues we use is actually a beeping noise, right? And you're in an environment and you don't actually see what's going on. There's a faint light off in the distance, but the thing that pulls you towards it is a beeping noise, and the spatialized audio really helps with that. So yeah, you have, when we develop a project, we develop in a game engine, which allows you to put sound anywhere you want, and it really is like 50% or if not more of that experience is being able to hear the spatialized audio and tell where it's coming from. So sound, it's just like film. Sound plays a huge part, but you because your viewer is a camera, you have to use those other senses to really drive the experience. Sound being a huge one in that. Like Brooke said earlier, you can use light and you can use other stuff, but like sound is, if you hear a noise behind you, you're going to turn around. Whereas if I flash a light behind me, I might not even notice it's there. So.
Hi, my name is Yashar, and I'm a visual effects generalist. And my question is for all of you, that now we are in a kind of age of wearable technology, which we have to wear these goggles and do these things. When do you think, or your estimation will be, this VR thing can be in a neurological level?
I don't think it'll go that direction.
It'll probably be contacts first.
I think that's too much of a buy-in.
I have no idea.
I think it's going to go more the way of caves. I think the ability to have your apartment and your walls projected upon with synced 3D projection, and it hooked up to your game console, and you're tracking your space, and you and your friends can play games together in your own apartment, and it's transformed into whatever, is going to be more of a common thing that you could just buy off of the shelf.
There is that creepiness of hooking a computer up to your actual body and
There's
letting it
that,
have haptic response. That's
actual Matrix stuff. Yeah.
Okay, sorry. All right, that's it for the questions from the audience. Thank you very much, panelists, for staying staying on this long.
Great. Thanks for staying with us.
Yeah, those are good questions.
When he asked about neuro, all your microphones went up immediately. All right, there's not a lot of people here, but can we make some noise for our panelists, please? Applause. All right, thank you. Thank you, thank you, thank you.